What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
Guys are from Free Love, man.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hector Flores back with talking some Astros content. I know I'm rocking the Skeeter shirt, but this is an Astros video. Technically, the Skeeters are now part of the Houston Astros organization because they are now the AAA affiliate for the Houston Astros. So technically, I guess it's right that I'm wearing a Sugarland Skeeter shirt, but that's not the part that matters. Yeah, it's been a while since we've made some content here at Saw Sports, but we're trying to get back into it. And for you guys wondering if I'm going to start doing weekly recaps, that is not what I'm going to do. As much as I would love to do that, just time constraints, and obviously I have my own thing with the podcast, insert name FC, it's a soccer podcast. So, but with all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and do monthly recaps for the Astros and of course the Dynamo as well. So that's what's going to happen. It's just going to be a breakdown of that month. And for this case, it's kind of like a catch-up. In case you haven't been watching the Astros and don't know what the Astros have been up to, this is going to be just a quick update as to how they've been performing and where they are rankings-wise in specific categories. I'm not going to go into depth. I'm not going to mention who's my player of this month, anything like that, just because that's me having to go literally buy each game to find that player. So that's going to be a little bit too much work, and I'm not trying to do all of that, but I'm trying to give you guys some content. I will be doing I guess a wish list of what the Astros should be trying to go for as far as trades and some other stuff. But yeah, let's get going with this video though. But before we do, make sure you guys hit a like, subscribe to Saw Sports. If you guys want all the content and all the sports, but only Houston, then obviously subscribe to Saw Sports. Click on that notification bell so you'll be notified when these videos drop like this, or when we go on live streams, whenever that happens. Also, if you guys want to, obviously help out, you can either join the Patreon or become a member of the channel, and you'll get some special perks, even join the Discord. So I highly recommend that. So let's get going with this video. Alright, so how I'm structuring this video is just basically I'm just going to go month by month till June. I'm not going to cover July because obviously July just started, so that's how it's going to work. So I'm going to just look at tell y'all the records, the teams they faced, and like I said, their record for that month. I'm going to just put this out there. There's a reason why baseball is 162 games. At least it should be 162 games. I don't want to hear people complaining saying that, oh, we should go to 60 games, because 60 games you don't find out who's really the true teams. Prime example is Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve in 2020 did not have the best regular season. But if you really look at it, I mean, initially he had a rough, but then kind of near the end, you start seeing Jose Altuve get better hitting wise, and then the playoffs look like Jose Altuve. So this is what you're missing when you don't do the 162 games. Certain players may look hot just because. I mean, look at Martin Maldonado. He had one of the most craziest years ever, and it just happened to be in 60 games. Where Martin Maldonado is not necessarily that guy that's gonna hit plus 300 and hit 25 home runs. That's just not him. But so see what the 60 game season can really alter some things. So take that with a grain of salt, but 162 games is where you truly see who's the best teams and who's truly the best players. And that's my little TED talk for that. But let's get going with the month of April, which obviously is the first month of the MLB season, where the Astros swept the Oakland Athletics 4-0, and obviously a 4-game series. But let me go ahead and also put another disclaimer. 4-game series are really hard to sweep in. It's impressive when they do it. I mean, the Astros did plenty of times this year, but don't think it's going to happen a lot. It's very rare. It's impressive. It's amazing, but it's one of the hardest things to do is to complete a 4-game sweep. Just going to state that there. That's just my 2 cents. If you guys remember, if you guys were in the Discord, you guys remember that I was trolling Asmel for jinxing the Astros, and honestly, I don't think he's jinxing the Astros. I just do that to fuck with him. But anyways, so the Astros end up sweeping the Oakland Athletics 4-0. They split in a 2-game series with Anaheim 1-1. They lose to Oakland 1-2, which was their home opener series. Then they get swept by the Detroit Tigers in a 3-game series, which Badu's amazing. That's my only take for Detroit. Badu looks amazing. I'm sure in that series everyone's like, oh, we should have kept AJ Hinch. I'm not gonna tell you how I feel about that, but yeah, whatever. They end up losing 1-2 to Seattle Mariners in a 3-game series. They end up losing in a 2-game series against Colorado. Just gonna give you guys a heads up. I don't consider sweeping a 2-game series as a sweep. It's a 2-game series. Like, I don't deem it as a regular. If it's a 3-game sweep, I'll give it that. But a 2-game sweep, I'm not gonna give anybody credit for that, even for me. But Colorado won 2 games against the Astros. They end up beating Anaheim 3-1, and then beating Seattle 3-1, ending the month of April with a 13-12 record. Look, man, the only thing that's important when it comes to these seasons is take it game by game, series by series. It's how you always should approach it when it comes to baseball. And at the end of the month, if you have more wins than losses, you take that as a win. Mind you, still it's 1 win over, but it still counts. So take that. You want to win your months out. That's what you want to do. It's a long season. It's a league where if you win 100 games, that means you lost 62 of them. So, there's only a few months of baseball, but there's just a lot of games. But just understand, you want to win month by month, and obviously, if you take it game by game, series by series, that's the approach that you should have. All right, now going into the month of May, the Astros end up beating the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1. They lose to the New York Yankees 1-2, but there was actually something pretty clinical about that one win against the Yankees, and that was Jose Altuve kind of finding his form. He hit a home run on his birthday. It was pretty huge. I mean, you're doing it in New York. Everybody knows how the Yankees fans are. This is a very hostile stadium to be in, but you know what? The Astros brought it at least for that one game to at least not be swept. So take that. I take that more as a positive than a negative, but I'm sure people would rather win the series. But it led to some things, all right? Because then the Astros beat Toronto 2-1. They beat Anaheim 2-1. They swept the Texas Rangers in a 4-game series, a 4-game sweep. Once again, very impressive. They beat Oakland 2-1, and then get swept by the Texas Rangers in a 3-game series. It happens. They end up splitting with the Los Angeles Dodgers 1-1, which was a huge series just because of the fact that was when they accepted full capacity at Minute Maid Park. Seems kind of convenient that it was against the Dodgers, but you know what? You want to make it hostile against the Dodgers. The Dodgers crowd was an interesting series nonetheless, just because of the Dodgers fans showing up. You had the two Astros fans try to take on this one Dodgers fan, and then his wife. Well, it was an interesting series. Then you had two Dodgers fans fighting against each other in front of Little Woodrow's in downtown. So it was a very interesting series. I will give it that. But yeah, so they end up splitting that 1-1, and then lose to San Diego 1-2. Probably one of the more frustrating series for some people, but you have to understand the San Diego Padres is a team that you can't be comfortable with a 3-run lead. This is one of those games where you have to blow them out and put them out of their misery, and think a 1-3 run lead isn't going to be enough, especially with how hot those bats are, especially with Fernando Tatis Jr. But they end up losing that series, but end up finishing the month 15-12. So once again, like I said, you want to win out your months, and they did. They won back-to-back months. Take it for what you want for the game, for how much above 500 they were, but that counts nonetheless. And then you come to, well, now in June. So the Astros end up beating the Boston Red Sox 3-1. They beat Toronto 2-1. They beat the Boston Red Sox again 2-1. They beat Minnesota 2-1. They beat the Texas Rangers in a 2-game series 2-0. See, I told you I don't count them as sweeps. They swept the Chicago White Sox 4-0. That was amazing, just because of the fact that at that point Chicago was the best team in the AL at the time. I believe even in baseball as well. But you know what? Everyone gets their chance. Every dog gets their day, and the Astros went ahead and they built a lot from that series, because they went and swept the Baltimore Orioles 3-0 and then split with Detroit. So at that point, the Astros were riding on an 11-game winning streak, and it ended against the Detroit Tigers. Go figure for that. And then they get swept by the Baltimore Orioles 0-3. So not necessarily the best of finishes for the month, but they are currently doing well against the Cleveland Indians. Still the Indians right now, but I know they're going to be changing it at some point. But they end up finishing the month of June with a 20-9 record. All of a sudden, it doesn't seem that bad that you won April 13-12 and May 15-12, right? Because now you have this big, huge month with 20 wins, and you had single-digit losses. This is where you start finding the form. That's where you start seeing the teams. I mean, the Astros aren't playing perfect baseball, but it's damn near perfect. I'm not going to say perfect just because of, obviously, we have some concerns with the bullpen. Yes, I understand that there's concerns with the bullpen. I'm not blind to it, but obviously you can probably hide the issues with the bullpen with some pretty solid hitting, and the Astros brought in the hitting. So as far as hitting rankings goes, the Astros are currently top 5 in 14 hitting categories, which is fucking crazy. They're first in at-bats, they're first in runs, they're first in hits, they're first in strikeouts, they're first in batting average, they're first in on-base percentage, they're first on OPS, they're first in total bases, and they're first in sac flies. You can't be complaining about the hitting too much because obviously the hitting has brought it this season. They are just out of this world right now with their hitting. And I mean, you know, you got guys like Michael Brantley doing his thing. You got Yuli Gurriel looking amazing. Carlos Correa, you know, making the Astros look okay. So with the Carlos Correa thing, I'm just gonna sit here and say, like, it's good that that Correa did not take the deal that the Astros initially gave him. But, you know, that was also a gamble as well. Because, you know, obviously everything depends on how he does this season. This season is basically what defines how much he's going to be making this year. But luckily, you know, he started a little bit slow, but is coming in and doing what Carlos Correa does best. And he's staying healthy, so that's the important part. So depending on, as long as he can keep this up, this guy is going to get paid, whether it's from the Astros or from another team. And if some people think that the Astros aren't going to be able to do it, I mean, if you really think about it, Zach Greinke and Justin Verlander will be off the books. As long as they're not as long as they don't give him some ridiculous deal. I mean, the way he's performing, he's probably going to get something around the ballpark of Francisco Lindor if he keeps up his form. Obviously, if something were to happen to Carlos Correa, which I hope it doesn't happen, but because I do love Carlos Correa and I think he's a great player. Everything that he brings to the table. I mean, he's got the guy that has been fighting against all the bullshit that's been coming. But, you know, this was the gamble he took. I mean, he could have easily just accepted that deal if he really wanted to stay in Houston. But he, you know, obviously he's investing in himself. He's betting on himself. And, I mean, if he has an amazing year, he's going to get paid, whether it's here in Houston or elsewhere. So, I mean, yeah, Carlos Correa looks great. You know, like a lot of players. Look, Miles Straw's looking pretty good. And I'll say something about Miles Straw. I know a lot of people hate Miles Straw, but I think that there's some reasons why people hate Miles Straw. If you guys want me to do a separate video about why y'all hate Miles Straw so much, I'll do it. But I think Miles Straw is actually pretty good. I think he's actually a pretty solid, pretty decent center fielder. Needs to get better, but I think that's going to get better as he plays. And as far as the hitting concerns were, I mean, once he's like played a few more games, once he sees the ball pretty much better, he's gonna start hitting. And you know, the best quality of Miles Straw is obviously his speed. So if he gets on base, he's gonna be able to fly through those bases and help the Astros out with getting some runs. So I can see the benefit of Miles Straw. But yeah, I'll leave that on a cliffhanger. If you guys want me to make a video as to why you guys hate Miles Straw, I'll make a video. But if y'all don't, I mean, that's cool, whatever. But yeah, so if you guys want why you guys hate Miles Straw, maybe not you, but why do people hate Miles Straw, I'll make a video if you guys want that. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically the Astros season. Like I said, I'm not gonna look at records right now or even look at where they are in the standings. I mean, you guys can literally look that up yourself. But the reason why I don't do that is because I don't, personally with me, like anyone can tell you, baseball guys are kind of weird. And one of the things is I personally don't look at standings till after the All-Star break. I don't start looking at records till after the All-Star break. I know I literally just point out the records of the month, but that doesn't bother me. But like when I start looking at standings, where they stand with other teams, that's when I'll, like, after All-Star break, because that's where it's now straight shot, like the push for the MLB postseason. That's when it starts. So that's my reason why I don't look at that. Like I said, baseball guys are kind of weird. if you guys want to know, during the World Series, I wore the same pair of socks for every game, for every series, because, you know, obviously the Astros made it to the World Series and won. So I wore the same pair of socks, didn't wash them. So that's how you, if you guys want to know how weird baseball guys are, that's my process. So take that for what you want. But yeah, so I'm not gonna tell y'all the Astros records. If you guys drop it in the comments, I fucking don't care. Like, honestly, like, I call Asmo a jinx, but it's just to troll him. I really don't think what Asmo does affect the Astros. More so that things that I do affect the Astros is more what I think. And I mean, I have the ring to prove that it kind of works in some way, so I do have some of that validation. But yeah, anyways, so there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. All right, so that is the Astros, I guess, catch up. If you guys haven't been watching the Astros, now you know where the Astros have been looking. If you guys think they look good, which I mean, I hope you do, because they won three months. They have the better record in 3 months. So, not a better record. They have a winning record for each month. So, hopefully you guys are optimistic, unless you're just wanting to find something to be sad about. And if that's the case, man, good God, the Texans have hurt you. But yeah, so that's what's going on with at least a recap of the Astros. I will be doing a video as far as potential players the Astros should trade for. And once again, if you guys want me to make a video as to why I think you guys hate Miles Straw, you guys can put in the comments, tell me that you guys want it, and I'll go ahead and do it if the reception is that you guys want me to explain as to why you guys hate Miles Straw. So there's that. If you guys have any ideas for a video, maybe a hot takes video. So if you guys want a hot takes video where we'll put it on Twitter to have you guys drop your hottest take on not just Astros, man. You can do like a Dynamo hot take, an Astros hot take, a Rockets hot take, a Texans. I'm sure there's gonna be a shit ton of Texans hot takes, but just the dash, you know, all that. Like, if you guys want to make if we want to do a hot takes video where we can have me at Honcho and the rest of the Roundtable think whether or not your hot take is good or not. If your hot take, if we're buying or selling your hot take, go ahead and also put that in the comments. Tell me what you guys want to see from the channel, because we're trying to get back into it, and that's what helps. Also, what helps is if you guys like this video and subscribe to Sauce Sports, because Sauce Sports talks all sports but only Houston. So if you guys want to show us some love, give us a subscribe to us, and also click on that notification bell so you'll be notified when we drop videos and when we do live streams. So you guys know we are back. Sauce is back. Also, if you guys want to help support us, you can either be a Patreon or become a member of the YouTube channel and help us, you know, financially support us in some way. So with all being said, man, that's all I got. Chunking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.